Raph here, Zatara Transaction Advisors Inc. Anyways, I just wanted to go over this business owner sellability checklist. So Scott put this together. It's one of my favorite tools that BSG has, and it's just a checklist. But basically, it helps you identify whether or not your company is saleable, right? So here are all the different risks in a business. So, key person dependency, human resource, marketing, sales, information technology, customer service, suppliers and vendors, gender, facility, and culture. So, those are kind of the areas that he's identified, along with the financial, legal, and then operational. So, those would be the three areas of diligence, right? You got financial diligence, legal diligence, and then operational diligence. So, this goes over the four stages of companies and whether or not your business is saleable, right? So, unfortunately, these companies are generally unsaleable. They'll trade for 0 to 2 times EBITDA, or basically give or take what their assets are. They're not going to be all that saleable. So, this would be companies it comprises about 80, almost 89%, 88.5% of all businesses in Canada and the United States, unfortunately, are very difficult to sell. They're almost unsaleable. These are small businesses, so 40,000 to 750,000 in revenue, and then 0 to 150,000 in EBITDA. So I'll have a lot of guys that want to retire that'll contact me and say, "Hey, Raph, can you sell my business?" And unfortunately, a lot of times it's pretty difficult for me to sell because who am I going to sell it to? If the business makes 0 to 150,000 in free cash, so EBITDA, so take your net profit before taxes, add back interest, like long-term interest, and add back your depreciation, amortization. And if that number is less than 150,000, who are we going to sell it to? The reality for a buyer is that there has to be enough cash flow to provide for his lifestyle. If he's most likely going to use a loan from the bank, so it has to provide for the banker's lifestyle. There has to be an adequate return on his capital invested, and there has to be some left over to grow the business. So if your business doesn't generate 150,000 in EBITDA, and this is like adding back all the discretionary spending that you may or may not be taking out of the business. So, for example, if you pay for all your gas through the business and the new owner doesn't have to pay for his gas, a vehicle is not required to run the business, you can add that back. If you pay for vacations out of the business, add that back. If you pay for your personal insurance, like your personal life insurance, add that back. Meals and entertainment. There's a whole list of these expenses you can add back because a new owner wouldn't have to take on those expenses. All those expenses that you're taking out that are kind of BS expenses, you can add back. And so if that number though is still less than 150,000 in EBITDA, so SDE would be 150,000 plus, in general, 80 grand is a good salary for a manager. So if the business doesn't make at least 230,000 in free cash to the owner, then unfortunately it's very difficult to sell. And these businesses are only going to trade for between 0 and 2 times EBITDA. So effectively, your business is basically worth what the assets are, and that's about it. So you don't really have very many exit options. You can liquidate the assets, transfer to your family, transfer to your employees, shut her down, or you got to build it to a stage 2 company. So the buyers for this are going to be liquidators, turnaround experts, family, friends, employees, and optimists. The other thing is, like, if you haven't made enough for your retirement and you're expecting the next guy to pay for your retirement, that's not really fair to the next guy. You're effectively asking the next guy to bail you out. And you're asking him to pay you for the mess that you've created. So I think it's important for you to understand that your business is only worth the free cash flow it generates, right? They're not paying. This isn't a hobby, right? Business isn't a hobby. Business is business. So it's better to identify this beforehand, and maybe over the next 5 years, if you're in this situation and you're looking to get out of your business, it's better for us to identify this sooner than later, and then maybe we can start working on getting all these unsaleable things handled, right? And hopefully that'll grow your business into a stage 2 company. Stage 2 company becomes sellable, right? Stage 1, this is a great place for, by the way, this is a great place for if you want to get into business and you're looking to not start from scratch. Like it's not a smart idea to start from scratch. And if you're looking to get into business, finding a company where the guy wants to retire, it's got stable cash flows, it's a platform for you to build on, is a really good option, right? But at the same time, you can't overpay him. And because this doesn't generate enough free cash, it's going to be difficult to get a bank loan. And so you're going to have to do some sort of owner finance. So that makes the barrier to entry for a guy that wants to get into business on his own. This is a great place to start. The stage 1 company is a great place to start for that. Unfortunately, as a saleable asset, it's not really there, right? Anyways, stage 2 company, 2 to 4 times EBITDA is kind of what we're going to be able to sell that for. This is, 7% of companies. So there's about 102,000 of these in Canada. So they have a revenue of between 750,000 to 3 million. EBITDA is 150 to 750. This is when it's a real business where there's a manager in place, and there are lots of buyers for this, right? For this stage 1 company, this is pretty much a job, right? So your exit options for a stage 2 company are you can sell to a third party, transfer to family, transfer internally, or you can increase sellability and exit in stage 3. So who are you going to sell this to? An owner operator, individual investor, partner, family, employee, competitor, supplier. So now we got some options. We can sell this thing. Stage 3. This 4 to 6 times EBITDA is generally what these are going to trade for. So this is 3 million in revenue to 30 million in revenue, 750,000 in EBITDA to 5 million. And there's about almost 34,000 of these in Canada. Anyways, so you can sell this to a third party. You can recapitalize. So you can actually pull money out of this business if you want to. You could sell a part of it to a private equity firm or financial acquirer or something like a family fund, search fund, competitor, supplier, partner, management, employees, family. So you can actually pull money out of this business. Now this business is a saleable asset, right? Yeah. And then stage 4 companies. So these are the bigger companies. So, there's about 24,000 of these in Canada. This is from 2024 when this was created. So there might be more than this. There might be less than this. But around 24,000 of these in Canada. It's around 2% of all businesses, 1.84% of all businesses. And these are the companies that are extremely saleable. This is what investment banks want to sell. They want to sell these 5 million in EBITDA is kind of their bottom, and then they go up to 100 million in EBITDA, really. But you can take it public, IPO. You can recapitalize, sell to a third party, transfer to family, transfer internally. And this is, the buyer types are going to be public market, strategic buyer, investor, private equity groups, hedge funds, financial acquirers, family funds, search funds, competitors, supplier, management, employees, and then family, right? So starting at stage 1, how do we grow the business? Because the dream for every entrepreneur is basically selling, stage 2, stage 3, or stage 4, right? This is when you get the big exits. 4 is basically the big exit. 3, you still got a decent size exit. Like, I mean, 4 times 750 is 3 million. 3 million to 6 times 5, 3 to 30 million. Like, these could be pretty significant influxes of capital for you and your family. So the game is getting from stage 1 to stage 2 to stage 3 to stage 4. And these are the companies that I sell. I sell stage 2 to stage 3. Right? These are the companies. This is my home. This is what I deal with. I deal with a lot of private equity groups, financial acquirers, family funds, search funds, help with ESOPs, help with family transfers, help with succession planning. This is what I do. Unfortunately, it's very difficult for me to help a stage 1 company. Unless they're willing to go through the whole value enhancement process where we start putting a plan in place for how to get this company from stage 1 to stage 2, and whether that's by growing the revenue, making it more efficient so that you get more to the bottom line, right? More free cash to the bottom line, or de-risking the business, right? So adding systems and processes to make sure that the cash flows going to keep coming in, right? To de-risk that cash flow. So anyways, this is the checklist. I'm going to go through everything in a series of videos, kind of what you need to do to make your business more saleable. So getting from stage 1, hopefully to stage 4. Again, part of the services we offer is we value companies and sell them. We also help people buy companies. So stick around, stay tuned, and hopefully we'll learn a whole bunch together. All right. God bless. Bye now.